We will call this meeting to order. Good morning and welcome to the February 27th, 2024 meeting of Henderson County Fiscal Court. We are glad you are with us. And for those watching online, we're glad you are with us as well. We'll begin as we always do with an invocation, and Reverend Lauren McDuffie from Community Baptist Church is with us. Please stand as she leads us in prayer.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here. Let us pray. Holy One, we gather with gratitude for this beautiful place we call home. We thank you for the hearts and minds gathered here this morning and for their willingness to serve our community, that it may be a vibrant, safe, and welcoming place for all. We pray that a spirit of compassion and generosity, a spirit of wisdom and cooperation, a spirit of creativity and hope will be present in the conversations shared and decisions made this day. We lift up to you the leaders and staff who do good work here and all the residents of Henderson County who are represented here. Help us to do all that we can to strengthen our community and care for our neighbors. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Magistrate Starks?
Here.
Magistrate Berry?
Here.
Magistrate Putman?
Here.
Magistrate Tompkins?
Here.
Magistrate Southern? Here.
Gentlemen, you have in your packets the minutes of the February 13th, 2024 Henderson County Fiscal Court meeting. After a period of review, I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other corrections, clarifications, or additions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is Judges Scholar time again, and we have with us from Niagara Elementary School, Miss Ansley Sellers. And Ansley, I'll ask you to meet me right up here.
Whereas Ansley Sellers has been chosen by Niagara Elementary School to be the recipient of the Judges Scholar Award for exceptional efforts in both academics and school activities, and whereas Ansley's hard work and dedication making the most of educational experiences and developing positive relationships with teachers and other students will lead to future success, and whereas success is measured many different ways, whether it be passing a test, scoring the winning point, achieving a particular goal, or taking the necessary steps for overall improvement, and whereas the Henderson County school system could not let Ansley's efforts go unnoticed, and whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court supports the school system and acknowledges these accomplishments as being significant because students such as Ansley Sellers will be our future leaders. Now, therefore, I, Brad Schneider, County Judge Executive of Henderson, join with the Henderson County Fiscal Court to proclaim today, February 27th, 2024, as Ansley Sellers Day here in Henderson County.
Congratulations, Ansley, to her team at Niagara and her family. I'm glad you're here with us. And now the fun part starts. But while we go through the normal, just detritus of government, know that we are really proud that you're with us and hanging out with us today. Always good to have a wingman into these things. So, okay. Is Stacy with us for animal control reports? You have those in your packet. You can make sure to contact Stacy if you need to. In your packet is a notification from the city that the city intends to buy about 54 acres that are adjacent to the Pratt property that they had an option on from the very beginning of the Pratt deal, and they decided to go ahead and buy it. It's in the county, so they're required to send us notification. I think what will eventually happen with this property is it'll either be developed as an independent little industrial site, or Pratt will acquire it in some fashion. But so they went ahead and bought it, and again, I guess we need a vote to accept acknowledgement of it or anything like that. Yeah, this is their requirement for us, so they're letting us know. We have some bids to open. Where did Nick go?
Golly, sorry, Rich.
To get a PowerPoint. We might be done with this before he gets back. Yeah, we'll go back to him. Okay, do we have any bids on the solar project? We're going to open those. Oh, Nick, are you prepared to jump right up here to the podium?
That's why they call him in the nick of time.
So we have a bid recommendation on concrete.
Concrete will be selected as Moit. They have the concrete bids for the 3,500 PSI concrete and 4,000.
You have a recommendation. Do we make a motion to approve that bid?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions?
Were they the lowest bid?
Yes. They're actually the only bid.
I was going to say.
I thought so. I just wanted to get that on the record.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now, petroleum products.
Our fuel, both our diesel, on-road, off-road, and our unleaded fuel is we're going to select Valor Oil. They came in with the lowest bid. They also don't have a minimum quantity, which we usually try to stick around 6,000 gallons per load, but they do not have a lower quantity. They don't have a minimum quantity, so it makes it a little better to have them, use them as and they were actually the lowest bid for fuel.
I remember that being a little bit. Any other questions on that? We get a motion to approve that recommendation?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now the detention center solar project, and again, this is a similar project to the one we have over at the Judicial Center, where we'll be leasing. The bid was for leasing an array at the detention center. To help drive down costs. This is Amerilite. Let's see how many copies of this they have, if you want to pass these down that way. Pass those over there.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
So the Amerilite total amount is $561,924. And this is part of a lease-to-own RFP. for installation and connection and maintenance and operation of the solar array. So again, 561, this is an alternate bid from Amerilite. Oh. Let's see. Gotcha. Good point. The first one was for a 20-year contract. This one is for a 15-year contract at $496,000, total of $496,402. Again, under the terms of the RFP. If the court would, and here I can pass these out. I will take these and consult with the jailer, if you don't mind, and bring back a recommendation at the next fiscal court meeting.
Could we get maybe a study, because that one's been running long enough, so we can look at,
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday.
Yes.
Yep. I plan on getting those soon.
I'd also like to have them tell us how they're projecting the cost of the energy savings, you know what I mean? We're based off of what we're using today, where are they getting their data to do that?
Well, I know that they do get their data from Hempel.
So they're projecting it based off what Hempel's saying it's gonna cost.
Right. Hempel has one of the reasons for doing this is Hempel has a very favorable rate for customers who install solar arrays. I mean, like a third less, and two-thirds less.
Right.
And that's part of the motivation is,
On that 20-year on the very back page, is that Taylor, is that what you're talking about? Electric bill savings? There's the first year, second year, as opposed to the cost.
Correct.
so even leasing the array like we do and making lease payments, we still save, according to these projections. But to Tim's point, we're going to check in with Hempel on how that array is doing and what it looks like so far.
because I think we requested, they'll send us an itemized statement of what.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just
That's substantial.
before
So
we
those were
buy
the only-
another one, I want to make sure that one's.
Yeah.
doing-
Now, one of the great things about leasing it as opposed to buying it is that there are out clauses. If we don't see the savings we're expecting, we can get out of the lease. Again, one of the reasons we wanted to do it in that way. And so I will get with Jailer Todd and we'll see what it looks like and go from there. Did Stacy join us? Where'd she pop in? Okay. Stacy, you don't mind?
Apologize for being late, but I have our executive director and 2 animal control officers in Paducah in training. And so we had some issues at the shelter. I had to stop by there. So in January, we had 13 brought in and 10 reclaimed. So that was a good thing. As of now, for February, we've had 16 come in and 10 reclaimed. So we're not done with the year yet, or the month yet. So, but the numbers are looking good right now, but it's starting to be puppy season. And so we just had to bring in 7 stray puppies yesterday. So it's gonna add to February's as well. We're looking good. Like I said, I have them, Steve sent me something for training in Paducah, free training. So I sent all 3 there. It's going to be for investigation and everything. So things are looking great. Animal control officers are amazing. I'm very proud of the team. So I think we're on the up and up, and we hope to keep it that way. Any questions or issues or anything that you...
So on this sheet here. It's got we had the beginning animal count, beginning of this year, had 118 adult canines.
Correct.
It says up to 5 months. What does that mean?
That means okay, do you mind if I?
Yep.
I didn't bring my glasses, so let's hope. Okay, so 118 beginning of 2024.
Right.
Is, so, and then this is the monthly, and the up to 5 months is puppies.
Okay.
Yep.
The age
Yes,
of the dog.
it's the age.
All right,
Yes,
thank you.
I thought that's what it was, Barbara. So, yes, and like I said, we're getting ready to get into puppy season, so hopefully our numbers do not come up. Plus, it's warmer weather, people want to just let their dogs out even more, so.
And as Ansley watches this, every Disney movie I ever watched growing up, the dog catcher was always the villain.
Right.
In this case, it's actually really important, and people love the dog catcher when they.
Yeah, we don't want to have that stigma. We want to have people stop calling us the pound. So I honestly, the officers I have now, I'm going to start hopefully initiating some education programs with the public so the public can get to know their officers, and we're not out to take your animal. We're out to help the public and help the animals.
Protect the public.
And protect the public and protect the animals, and I can't say enough how proud I am. So.
I think it's really great you're sending the ACOs to that training. It looked like a really good one, and the fact that you were able to get them all there, that's a huge deal. Thank you.
Yes, JJ stayed back because we needed an animal control officer, and JJ has been there, and he's been working with Ron and stuff, so he's more up on the investigation, things that need to be done. And I also wanted Melinda to have that too. So yeah, it's putting a little strain, but we're getting them there, and we're going to continue with education.
Yeah, it'll be worth it.
Yes, it will.
And if you got time after the meeting to come and see Kurt and I appreciate it. If you
Okay.
can hang out a minute.
Yeah.
Stacy, are you full? Are you still full?
Well, we rotate. We're full, but to the point that we're busting, no. We're not in pop-up kennels or anything like that. We always have room,
Yeah.
and we're working with rescues to pull, so that's helping a lot. And New Hope in Henderson is starting to work with us again, so they're starting to pull as well. So we're getting good relationships with a lot of rescues.
That's good.
Yeah, so we're actually just, now I'm not going to say when one cage empties, a stray doesn't come in to fill that cage, but we're not in dire straits.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay. Thank you.
Next, detention center reports. Bruce?
Morning.
Congratulations, Ms. Sellers. Niagara was a great school. Both my kids attended there, and got a great family, and can't help from succeeding. We had a state inspection last week, and everything went well. He was complimentary. Just one comment, at some sales were overcrowded, so we'll look at moving folks around and trying to relieve some of that, because we have 184 feds, federal inmates, have 111 state inmates, and 148 county inmates. So that's up a little bit, but we're good. Body scanner came in last Thursday, and they're installing it today. And we'll start training tomorrow and Thursday and some Friday. So we're excited about getting that going. And we got to get a certificate from Frankfurt so we can use it. But we've got that paperwork filled out. It's just a matter of formality to get it going. So we're ready to start that. And about it. We're doing well. Any questions or?
Have we made any progress, and forgive me on the terminology, the rocket docket, where we get them processed from county to move them on to wherever they are?
Yes, sir. Our office and the Commonwealth Attorney's Office jointly applied for a rocket docket funding through the Attorney General's office. We received it. It got in place last year. It's been in place for about 6 months. It is in place. It's working. The volume is lower than everybody would like it to be. In a way, there's good to that. But it is in place. There's a part-time assistant Commonwealth attorney, Ashley Hampton, is running that, and I think some of it is getting the defense attorneys used to that process, and the court and everything. So it's ramping up.
Yeah.
Bruce, would you say that's the?
Yeah, that's fair.
So we're starting to see the impact of
Yeah,
taking
we're-
away to move them on to get them off of the county dime, because, we want to make that happen as quickly as possible.
Right. For context, for those watching, when the jailer says county inmate, a lot of times, in fact, the vast majority of those individuals are felons that will end up being state paid inmates, but they're not until they're final sentenced. And so they're on the county's dime, so to speak, until the point at which they become final sentenced by the circuit court. And the rocket docket program is a program, particularly for those folks with, a drug possession or something like that, where everybody knows what's likely to happen is they're going to be sent to some sort of treatment. Getting them final sentenced and into treatment quicker and out of jail, it saves everybody money and hopefully gets people put back on the right path.
And that's what I was going to say. That way we can go ahead and get them engaged in the treatment or
Get them where they
whatever.
need to be.
That's right.
Exactly.
Absolutely. That's it for me.
Yes, we still are. I noticed them last Thursday. They were out on 41.
They were. I
Pick
saw
it
them.
up.
Yes, sir.
And I've asked them to put a better lighting system on the van so they're more visible.
Yep.
Other than that, yeah, they are.
And it's making a difference, because I can tell
Yeah.
you just the amount, it was noticeable, because, I know it's been nasty, and haven't been able to do it as much, but I was thinking on the way in a few weeks ago, man, they're just trash. And I'm like Keith, it bothers me. And
Yeah.
after they went down through there, I was like, man, it really does. It was an improved difference. So
It makes sense.
it's a great program.
Yeah,
It
it is.
that was something I was always proud of.
I've asked them to start kind of keeping account of the poundage, so we'll let you know how many pounds we picked
Absolutely.
up.
It's a great job. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Bruce. Along those lines, I'd like to ask Chip to come up, Sheriff's Stoffer. We've had a couple of illegal dumps in the county lately involving commercial demolition and debris material. And I know that, Sheriff, you've looked into this a bit, and I was wondering if you'd give us an update.
All right, so Green River Road, the Green River Road, gravel road area that was in a field, there was an address, Nick provided me an address in Owensboro. I made contact with a homeowner in Owensboro who said that, yes, he had some remodeling done, and somebody approached him for the metal, and they said, if you give us the metal, we'll take your shingles and stuff off. And I said, well, that was kind of you, because they ended up in one of my farmers' field in Henderson County. He said, well, let me see if I can track down who those individuals were. So that's that one. The Wathen Lane one, we have an image, and an image of a image of a vehicle. It's not the best image that we got from Home Depot in Evansville, because some of the debris that was left, with technology today, we were able to track it down to where it was purchased and have an image of an individual. The vehicle and the trailer doesn't necessarily look like that it fits what was described at Wathen Lane, but there's no doubt that that contractor was involved, because his boxes are there. So we're still looking into that and trying to piece all that together. So
Thanks.
It seems to be an ongoing.
Yeah.
I spoke with the magistrates earlier. The issue becomes that the homeowner has a contractor, and the contractor has a subcontractor, has another subcontractor, has another subcontractor, and before long, you can get back to the homeowner, but they're like, listen, I gave the guy money to take it to dispose of it, and I don't know what he did with it, so. But that's where we stand on the two most recent, or that we're familiar with. Actually, we had a third out at, it's across from Parish Farms on LaRue. It's actually not Parish's property, but we've found out who that was and made contact with them and are creating a criminal complaint on that one.
Good.
That was very small compared to the other two.
The
So-
same people
Please
do
keep
that, but we
pursuing.
appreciate the help.
Yeah. Please keep pursuing them.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, county clerk reports. Yep. Amber?
You already have the check. So really, does anybody have any questions? Did everybody get the report?
You see the report of the excess fee deposits in your packet. Any questions? And we already have the check in our possession, so. Hearing none, can I get a motion to accept the county
So
clerk's
moved.
statement? We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? This is going to be easy.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gold, your report.
Judge, I've got several checks today. Interest in the amount of $123.76. Flow through from the city, $458.33. Another interest check, $1,169.53. $209.71. Health insurance, $9,846. And also $920. Dental and life, $40.09. And also $517.89. And Aflac reimbursement, $182.71, bringing today's total to $13,468.02. And the fiscal year total to date, $137,062.96. And Ansley says she's never held $13,468.02. So if you could pass that to the judge, I would appreciate it. It's just like being an adult. You get some money in one hand and then you give it to the government right after.
Right, Mayor? Right? Yep. Yep. Thank you very much, Anthony.
Move to accept.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And Treasurer Ryder.
The transfers are as presented, and this is redistributing appropriations within the existing budget. These are more and more necessary as we get closer to the end of the fiscal year. We are in the 8th month of this fiscal year, and these are due to either projecting through the end of the fiscal year and/or where the budget may have been slightly underestimated.
Couple comments, and Steve, correct me if I'm wrong. For instance, the housing juveniles line item, that when local juveniles are referred to Bowling Green or other parts of the state, we are responsible for those expenses, just like we are county inmates.
Typically for status offenses, say truancy, things like that, beyond control of school or parent. If it's for juvenile delinquency, like a child has committed something that if an adult had done it would be a crime, we don't get a bill for that. Brenda, am I
Yes,
saying that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's what that's all about.
Correct.
As mentioned in the Finance Committee meeting yesterday, we continue to work on this building and the building across the way as needed. Sometimes we guess right on those expenses. Sometimes they end up being a little bit more. So we're adding some money to those line items to help cover. Again, as you know, budget's a good try to be an educated guess. That's why we budget a contingency fund to help us make these things balance out as the year goes on. And also, as talked about in the Finance Committee meeting, the continuing repairs of this building is a never-ending, it's, if you're familiar with Sisyphus, I mean, it is a rock we will never stop pushing, but needs to be done. So those are the primary reasons for the transfers. Any other questions about that? We'll still have $300,000 left in contingency after these adjustments are made. I feel good about that number going into the final quarter here. I think we're in good shape. Again, that's why we budget that. So I'll entertain a motion to accept the transfer.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Go ahead.
You've received the bank balances after paying claims today. The day-to-day appropriation line should be at approximately 66%. I do have additional claims from the general fund to Trace 3 LLC, $9,812.60. This is for the IT firewall annual maintenance and support and is to come from the IT services appropriation line. From the road fund to Nick Stallings, $2,491.62. This is for the training incentive and is to be paid with the March 14th, 2024 payroll and is to come from the county engineer training incentive appropriation line. From the jail fund to Republic Services, $784.13. This is for monthly services and is to come from the contracted services other appropriation line. From the ARPA fund to Lynn's Lock, $55,960. This is for payment number 2 of 4 for the Sheriff's Department body and vehicle cams, and the initial purchase of this was approved in the February 14, 2023 meeting. And that's all.
And Chip, you can just give me a nod, yes or no. The lens lock is working as you'd hope? Everything good? Yes. Nodded yes. Okay, good deal.
Judge, I move to pay the claims.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments from the Finance Committee?
We talked about those cameras, possibly paying for it if they was happy with the service instead of.
You mean paying in total?
Yes.
Well, we can bring that up. I would say that because we're paying for them at the moment out of ARPA funds, it may be best to go ahead and make this installment payment, and then towards the end of this calendar year, which is our deadline for getting them committed, we make the decision on the rest based on how it's going and
Right.
do it that way?
Yep.
Okay. Because we have other things we're spending money on with the ARPA funds, and just want to make sure we have enough room if we choose to do that, so it's there. So.
Sounds good.
Any other comments from the Finance Committee meeting? We had a good meeting yesterday. I think we'd all agree we're in good shape. Each of the departments is at budget or less on expenses, which is great. Great team effort there. We had some good news on some money that is coming back to us from the clerk's office. You may know that several months ago, we had a phishing scam that hit us, and it basically mimicked the company that we contract with for our election equipment, which is HARP. I believe this was HARP.
ARP Enterprises.
And asking for a payment on software and a electronic fund transfer on software, and it looked legit. And Rini said dealt many times with HARP, and it turns out that particular bill was fake, that it was a scam. And we wired the money to a bank in Florida as the receipt requested, soon discovered that it was not a legitimate bill, and this scammer had done this to counties, sent this to counties around the state that did business with HARP. It was $47,000, and after working closely with our bank in question, Field and Main, and the bank in Florida, Truist, and CAECO, our insurance agency, to see what was possible in getting some of that back, we just received word that we got a complete refund.
That's great.
Truist. So it happens to the best of us. All I'd say is be careful. Be careful with people who ask you for money, especially if it's a slight deviation from normal, because I think in the past we were writing HARP paper checks. Yeah. So all's well that ends well in that one. So that was a good one. Our revenue's good. We're at that time of the year when as I was telling the Finance Committee, I do a little bit of a happy dance because we crossed the line on meeting our general fund budget revenue number. It's always, not that I'm not confident it'll happen, but when it actually does, I always am a sigh of relief that we've reached that goal. So that's good. Any other comments, any other questions or comments from Finance Committee?
So on the electronic transfers, are we going to make it a kind of a policy not to do electronic transfers to stop that?
I mean, I think 90% of not 90%, but a good majority of our payments are electronic transfers. It's very common. We just got to be a little bit more careful.
We primarily pay vendors' checks.
But we do a lot of electronic transfers too, right? ACHs.
Our main ACH is the weekly health insurance, and that's it.
We try to accommodate vendors with the way they want to be paid. But, we're going to be extra vigilant. And
That's
it's a
what I
lesson
said. If
learned.
we can minimize our risk, that would be better, because we're lucky. We're lucky we're getting this back.
Real lucky.
It's a challenge everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, challenge everywhere. Anything else?
I think you summed it up pretty good, Judge.
Okay.
The county is healthy.
So we have a motion and a second on claims. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any old business. We have a Green River Road number 1 presentation on the agenda. Is that with Nick? Okay. Oh, this is for the collapse. Gotcha.
Yep. As I'm sure y'all heard by now, Green River Road number 1 had a small hiccup a few weeks ago. We got oh no. Oh, there it is. That's gonna be bad news. That's gonna be bad news. That didn't work. Okay, so
really dramatic there.
we got a phone call. We got a phone call from our 911, my 911 road employee. Got a phone call around 7 o'clock February 9th about a possible slide along the Green River. No, it's dark in that area. Not a lot of light to see, upcoming obstacles. So the road superintendent went out there, and I met him out there, and it was still an active slide. As we were out there, pieces of the road was still falling in. As you see from these, oh man, well, we're backwards, but we're working out. Okay, so this is, again, as you can tell, we're active sliding. Those cracks were happening as we were out there. The slides were happening as we were out there. This is the way we left it Friday night at 10:30. As you can tell, now we're halfway through the road. As we were leaving, it was still active sliding out there, but we did all we could do by placing rock berms on both sides of the road to close it and put up road barricades. Saturday morning, this is what it looked like, still active sliding. You can see by the shear cracks along the sides of the road. And then I went back out there Sunday, and this is where we were at. The whole entire road was engulfed, and this was what we were looking at as far as the damages. So this is kind of overview, Google image where it's at. You can see there that blue dot's a road slide. It's right there on the outside or inside of a bend, which is getting the majority of the water pressure before it makes that bend. So this area has been riddled. This area has been riddled by slides throughout over the years. It's different places. Most of them have not met the road. They've been just repairing the shoulder. But this one actually made it to the road, which kind of changes the ball game up a little bit. This kind of will put you into a little closer image for those people out there that love latitude and longitude. There it is. But that's where we're at for our damage. So you're saying, well, what's the concern, Nick? Just fill it up, right? This is what the concern is. As you drive there right now, look, we have shear cracks along the road. I'll highlight them in red so you can see them a little better. Shear cracks along a road that always floods are problems. That's infiltration of water. Shear cracks means the subsurface has moved, and then with the extra water, you reduce the shear stress along the road, and what causes more slides. This is what it looks like when you put it in perspective of where we're at. We've got another 80, 90 foot of road that's potential of falling. This road floods all the time, which again adds another obstacle to the problem. So this is kind of telling the tape. We're looking at right now, currently that's failed is 5,500 cubic yards. The potential for falling is 2,000 cubic yards. So we're talking about a pretty substantial amount of fill going back into place. So now we're looking at options. One option we have is to rebuild the road and roadwork additions. This is basically rebuild it back so we can keep the road where it's at and not have to move it, but that comes costly. Secondly, we have is relocate the roadway. I made contact with the Department of Forestry, which we got our local agent back in the back, Mr. Bryan, and we talked about possibly moving the road over into their property, doing a land swap, and then just safing the drop-off there so we have a buffer for the traffic. Third option is abandon the portion of the roadway. So let's dive into that a little better. Obviously, the best case scenario is having a stable footing. This would be, as you can see along the purple lines, would be the sheet pile wall that the contractor would put in. They would de-water in between the road and the river, de-water that, dry it out. And if we have a stable foundation, they go back with normal benching. Benching is kind of what it looks like. It's cubes of dirt that is put in and is compacted in the direction in a way that they stagger the crack lines, so we no longer have a fault, kind of like a block wall does. You know, none of your faults fall on the same line. It's just the way they stagger roads. Anytime they build a road, they do it by benching. More likely, the problem we may have is we have an unstable foundation. With that, a couple options we have. Number one is micro-piling. Micro-piling is placing a lot of micro-piles with the cap on top that gives a footing to build behind, to build the road behind. One problem it has with that is with this road flooding a lot, you have a mud flow between the pilings, and so you possibly have a slide down the road from that. That's just one of the non-benefits of having micro-pile. Another option would be sheet piling without tiebacks. It has a little overturning problem, but you do not disrupt the backfill. Also, with that, you do have a sheet pile with tiebacks. They have a lot of seaports because you have a lot of force from the water. The overturning moment is resisted by the tiebacks, which are the rods. It's usually tied to a block, and then you change the overturning moment into pull-out force. Those are called anchors. The sheet pile problems, like I said, you have a river that comes up and goes down pretty quickly. So if you have a rapid redraw of the river, you'll have pore pressure behind there. Now your walls are unstable because your pore pressure behind the wall. And you see tiebacks there are broken. So tiebacks aren't a cure-all, fix-all. You'll have an issue there. Now also you'll have sliding, or you'll have deterioration of the sheet pile wall itself. This is a small slide that you have just because of the overturning moment, as I spoke to earlier. And also you have, even with the cap, you'll have a lot of sliding with overturning moments that happen with the wall if they're not tied back or with anchors. This is kind of showing an idea of what happens. The surcharge load is obviously our roadway surface. Our shear plane is along this red line. So you want to try to get your fix beyond the shear plane line, and that can be achieved by soil nailing. Soil nailing is where they shoot rods, 50 to 70 foot rods in through the surface. They tie into stable earth here, come back in, grout the hose. That increases the soil pressure, and with that they tie in a steel mesh, and this shotcrete steel mesh to kind of hold the slide together to take your vertical compression and make it into tension, into horizontal tension. This is what a completed project looks like. It's a real good armor barrier along river walls. It takes a beating and keeps on smiling. The only problem is the cost. So, but wait, there's more. We do have an issue. We do have issue with a global stability. Anytime you do any kind of geotech work, you always got to look at global stability. We can do all this work inside, and we have our stability problem, like I showed in the cracks, could be further back, and then we lose everything. That happens, but that's something that me as an engineer got to tell you all. Okay, so now let's look at the cost. Benching is obviously with a stable foundation. We're looking, our length of the road, this is gonna be automatic, $16,000. No matter what we do, we gotta build the road back in that section. We'll look at the prep, de-water, shot rock for the armor protection. We're looking at a total price of around $378,000. Now that's a plus or minus 20% because this is a small quantity. So a lot of times, depending on how hungry a contractor is, they may come in. I use a lot of state prices here, but a bigger contract will have it cheaper. Smaller contract will be more expensive. Second option is sheet pile. I did the calculation on both armored with the tiebacks and non-tiebacks because we got two sections. One has failed, one has potentially failed. That gives us a total price around $383,000. Again, driving sheet pile, dewatering, and then build it back with your soil. And then obviously the cream of the cream is the soil nailing. And this is state contract prices using 70-foot nails, shotcrete, mobilization all the way through. And again, your $16,000 is no matter what. We got to build the road back. Puts it the grand total of $437,000. That's a pretty accurate number there because I'm using state contract prices. I assume the 2x4 pattern will give me enough strength, enough stability there to counteract any falls we may have on the road. Second option is to relocate the roadway. This is where the Department of Forestry comes in place. We're looking at moving the road back along the side, and then the slide we would repair with a safe in the shoulder. So we're moving the road away from the river a little bit, kind of give it back to nature because it's taking it back. So what we'll do is this is the safe in the shoulder as I spoke to earlier. This is the washout we had about 300 feet south of this location back in our FEMA event. We placed gabion walls, our concrete block walls they're 3 foot by 3 foot by 8 foot long, made us a armored toe here. We backfill with a concrete and dirt backfill. Again, this is not roadworthy. This is enough just to safe in the shoulder. If somebody was to run off the road, it gives them a buffer, which I always like to have a buffer against a river, obviously. Normal pull is combated by the concrete block walls there. They're about 6,000 pounds a piece, so they don't easily get moved. We did all this ourselves, and we had a grand total of $42,000. So let's look at this price tag. Okay, Department of Forestry wants to do this the correct way, which we'll have to survey off and do a land swap by us taking land, giving them land back. So I did an average, a theoretical cost around $15,000. A lot of land, a lot of a survey need to be done. Our new road will be 650 foot long, 20 foot wide. I got to removal and prep because this area has been a flooded land for decades or years, 100 years, centuries, right? So we got to remove all that back. We got to get the incompressible material out, and we got to move any kind of saplings that may be in the way. Coming back in with quarry run. Quarry run is a monster-sized rock. It's a good footing, a foundation. We got 962 tons of that. 3s on top of that, and 57s on top of that. That would put us back to a normal road along the section. Average ton is $45 a ton is for our install cost. So total price tag is $144,000. And that's assuming we got suitable soils. All right, and that meaning if we go back into the forestry department and then cut, and we don't have no soft spots, no base failures, and that we have a good soil that we can place a road on, going down 18 inches, we know we should get that. But again, I've always got to give you all the worst case scenarios because that's my job. All right. So now look at the road. Our third option is road closure. Okay, here with the road closure, the slide is right here is in yellow, and then we would have one closure right here at Timlo Bethel. That's about 600 feet from the slide to Timlo Bethel, or about 1,200 feet, sorry. 1,200 feet from the slide to Timlo Bethel. And then we also look at two alternates for closure. We'll do a closure up here at the intersection of the Green River State Forest, or we look here at a closure there up here by Evansville Marine Service, the barge area. It gives about a mile of road here that's kind of not used. It's just a traveled way. So that's, again, something you all decide on how we would want to close the road if we decide on that. Give you an idea, this is all Kentucky State Forest here. So we close a road between these points, you're really just giving it back to nature, giving room for the deer and antelope play, right? So here's our east closure. Be right here at Timmel Bethel. We'll do a closure. This will consist of an earthen berm, of reflective delineators, let people know, hey, we'll close this down. It's in a curve, so we got a little bit of overspill here to give people the time to turn. And we'll put signage up on both roads, letting them know the road is closed in within the distance that it proposes. Okay, west closure will be right here at the intersection of the Green River State Forest. All that's owned by Green River on around the corner. This is farmland, and so the only problem with here is we don't have a good turnaround. So somebody does make the turn, now they're stuck there, right? So it could possibly be a good dumping grounds. Is our only fault we have here is people can make that a dumping ground, and now you don't have no place to turn around besides this farmer's field, and that's probably not a good place. So we got again, that'd be earthen dams, and we'll do the reflective delineators and the signage there. Second alternative for the closure would be right up here beside Evansville Marine Service. We can put a closure here. This is Timmel Bethel coming in. We got a little wooden bridge here, 19-ton limit wooden bridge. We could put our closure here. That would give access to the farmer and access to this barge recovery and barge repair service. We got a couple options. We can do the earthen berm, ideal, or we can put an access lock gate where we could give the people who need to go back there the keys, like the Department of Forestry could have a key, the farmer, whatever. That's, again, that can be dove into if you all think that's the best alternative. So with that comes cost. This is kind of a redo. What we're looking somewhere around upper threes, lower fours for the rebuild of roadworthy conditions. To move the roadway is $144,000. Again, that's asterisk because we don't know what the soil conditions are if we move the road over, what type of base failures we may have. And then if we abandon the portion of the roadway, we're looking at somewhere around $20,000. So we're looking at upper threes, lower fours for the rebuilding the road, $144,000 to move the road over. And then if we abandon the road, we're $20,000. But that does come with intangibles of upset people. So with that, I want to know what y'all think about it.
Hey, can you back up to where the first one you showed the closures on?
Yep.
Keep going. Right here. So, coming from around the curve of the river.
Yes.
You've got your yellow dot and then the next blue dot.
Yes.
That piece of property right there, that farm piece.
Right here. Yes.
If the guy is coming from Spotsville.
And what I've been told, again, I've got to get into this if we decide on wanting to do the road closure and go through a KR statute. But I've been told it's the same farmer that farms all this.
But if he's coming, okay. But what I'm saying, if he's coming from Spotsville.
Yes.
Now he's going to come all the way up. How much difference are we talking about from coming in this way as opposed to coming on down 60 and coming in on, what's that, T. Sharner?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, no, there's T. Sharner or Sharner Road, I think it's a silent T. And then Timmel Bethel, they're both about the same distance, length from 60.
So it's not adding miles to it.
It's not adding miles. The only problem would be if somebody was over here who wanted to farm over here, now they got to take Sharner Road all the way down to 60, come across, and then go back up Timmel Bethel back to here to this point.
But that's not the case at the moment. Two different farmers.
No idea. No idea. So again, that would be the only downfall. This would all become back again it would possibly state forest. We'll give it back to nature. By the repetitive history, the Green River is going to keep taking parts of this road. We've done a lot of work over the years. None of us made the road until now. And so it happened. We came up on a blip of the radar with Bill because this has been a simple fill in and go on. Now we're in the road situation. This is not very well traveled. It's not lit at all. It's dark as could be out here. So I would hate to have a quick fix and then have the road slide off on
Yeah.
a Saturday or Sunday, and then we've got a problem with somebody in the river.
Can I ask Brian to come up to the mic?
And the thing of it is, Nick, no matter what we do, there's no guarantee it's not going to happen again down the road.
In another spot.
Well,
Yeah.
until that curve gets straight, it's
Yeah.
going to continue to happen.
I agree.
Until the river's straightened out, yeah.
For all of us, would you introduce yourself, Brian?
Yes, my name is Jim Bryan. I'm the State Forest Supervisor for the Division of Forestry.
And we've worked together on things and
Couple
always
projects,
worked well
yes.
together. Do you have an opinion about this, an option about this? I assume even if we do the road closure option, you still feel confident that you can access parts of the forest that you need to. There may be parts of the road, the closed part of the road that you can use for your own purposes. Am I saying all those things correctly?
Yeah, the road closure option, either place would be okay with us. My main concern with it being at the corner of our property would be the dumping. It's the situation and the partying situation. That's what shooting, we have a lot of problems with shooting, people in everything, the trash that goes with that. So I would be fine with the other closure, the eastern closure, if we could get to it. My question would be, would that road be maintained to some degree? I know it probably wouldn't be as it is now, but.
If we do a road closure, or take it off of county maintenance, at that point in time, it refers back to the previous landowner or the adjacent landowner. At that point in time, we would be done with it and would move on to you all or whoever. And that's kind of thing is that we take it off for maintenance, we no longer have to incur that cost. And so it no longer follows under our standards, which if the road slides more, it's no longer on the fiscal court or us or me, our road department, to have to deal with the situation we have and the savings for the railway driver.
So from the gate back, wherever the gate would be, wherever it ends from there back.
Where the closures are
Okay.
at, that would be all adjacent landowners, which would be, I guess, that would be a attorney decision, but we would also pull back.
Right. We would like to have good access, but we can access all of our property from other areas, so that's not a big deal. The other two options, the first one, that would be the best for us, for everybody, if the road could be rebuilt, but I understand that's cost prohibitive, possibly. The biggest concern on option 2 would be if we stabilize that slide and it just continues into the new road, where the new road is located. But I had a meeting with finance last week, State Finance Department, and they felt like that a survey and land swap would be the best option other than rebuilding the road where it is.
Any other thoughts from the court? Because
I'm not in favor of rebuilding the road where it is. It's been getting lost my whole life. That's not.
just
not-
like
agree.
fixing this
I think it's too
building,
expensive.
fighting the rivers on these roads.
Yeah,
has
but this
been a-
building serves a purpose.
a forever
for
challenge.
everybody.
Yeah. And as I understand it, this portion of Green River Road is, again, seldom traveled, unless you're back there farming or doing stuff you're not supposed to be doing, or just getting from one side of Shawner and Tillman Bethel to the other, which is kind of out of the way anyway. I don't know what it's for. I don't know why it's worth saving necessarily. But
The only problem I see with moving the road, and I've lived in the Geneva Bottoms my entire life, so I've seen roads be moved. And guess what? We're to the point where it need to be moved again.
Yeah, the
So
river
we
does
just keep
too.
giving Kentucky to Indiana.
Yeah.
It's at some point, we gotta stop this river from eating us up. But at $340,000 or $400,000, in that curve, as long as that curve's in that river, it's gonna find it.
Yep.
It's going to find its way to straighten that river out.
And this may be something we need to maybe consult with a couple local farmers about their thoughts. It may be good because keeping them with the access to fields is important to us, obviously. And what I hear the Department of Forestry and Mr. Bryan saying is that road closure will not impact you as it stands at this moment. So Off the top of my head, at first impression, I think closing the road would not be the worst thing to do. It'd save money, and it wouldn't have tremendous public impact, but there may be things I don't know.
And again, sorry to throw this on you all, just welcome to my world, get everything done, you got 15 minutes to figure it out.
I think if we don't affect the farmers in a negative way, I don't know what they're going to say, but I think Judge had a good point. We need to talk to them.
And we don't have to make decisions. I just want to let you all know, because
Yeah.
we're getting phone calls. I'm assuming you all may be getting phone calls to let the public know that we're just not sitting on this on the back burner.
Well, we need to make a decision sooner rather than later. It's okay to talk to these farmers,
if
but we
it's gonna
can't
take,
keep sitting here.
if y'all have options you all want me to do, I can start doing some, investigative work on finding out who's all affected if we do with the road closure and how that would look, versus if we want to do the, and obviously moving over would be a little more in depth. We wouldn't get rid of options now, and then I could start working on the other options and then come back to court next week. Next court, to say, hey, this is what I found.
Did I hear you say correctly that it's two opposite farmers farming on either side?
I asked the question.
Okay.
I do not know. I know one farmer runs this whole entire area. This whole entire farm right here is ran by one farmer.
I can't see what you're
To
saying.
the left of the state
It's a
forest.
green light, man. I get you. No, but between
So the east side of the forest,
between alternate 1 and alternate 2, that farming field
Yeah.
is all done by the same farmer.
yeah, okay.
So that's all done
No,
by
I
the
get
same
all
farmer.
that, but I'm just saying here's what I'm getting at, the west side and east side.
So
Yeah,
as far
each
as
side of the
on
forestry
on the
thing.
west side of the forestry, I do not know. And again, that would be some.
I mean, honestly, outside of that, that's really the only significant impact that we have here, because speaking as a guy who does a lot of hunting, and I still hunt a lot of public land, if you're gonna hunt there, that's not gonna stop you from access, because there's plenty of access for other things, and that's really the only other legitimate use.
And I hate to say it too, but I don't know that a gate or closing the road will make it any more or less likely that people are going to illegal dump. They do it anyway. Sad to say. But,
What,
One thing about closing an alternate 2, it's a little more publicized, I'd say, because you've got 2 roads coming into intersection. You've got a bridge, and then you've got the access there to the barge repair service. So it's not as isolated as closure 1 is.
Be a little harder to illegally dump.
Yes, and there's not a whole lot of room to turn around and dump your load and roll out. But down at closure alternate 1, obviously you're down there at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. There's not as much activity. It would be a little easier, which again would be further the problem. So,
but Nick, if we close it at alternate 2, won't we really need to keep maintaining the road for that marina, the marina company?
yes, but we would close it beyond there. Right. Because see, the Evansville Marine Service, or the Marine Barge Service is right here. Their intersection, which if I go back to here, we're actually, as you can see, we're right.
past it.
We're going to look at closing beyond this.
That's
point.
their yard right there?
That's one of them.
Okay.
They've got multiple ones up going on the other part of Green River 1 going towards the dump. They got multiple places. Again, that would be field meeting these guys out in the field, kind of going through, hey, what's going on? I would determine what's the best alternative and who's all impacted. I mean, there's some footwork that's got to be done if we choose this method.
Let me suggest this for next fiscal court meeting. Go ahead and do a little research on that. And Magistrate Barry, since this is in your district, maybe you and Nick need to meet with representatives of Invincible Marine and whoever is farming those pieces of ground on either side of the forest, get their opinion, and maybe bring that back to us.
what, you said something about you're getting calls. So how many calls and who?
Just people saying, hey, what are you going to do with the Green River Road? It's still closed. What are you going to do with the Green River Road? It's still closed. I guess people are just driving through. It's like, hey, I got a phone call, asked my Green River Road's still closed. And so this obviously will bring a highlight to the problem. Also, we go out there daily and we pick our barrels up out of the river and we pick up our barricades, taken apart. I mean, we even got people now that's taking them completely apart, dismantle them all and throw them over in the river because they're in their way, I guess. So that's the things that we do every morning. We run having our crew out there and put these things about together, and then it's just a common occurrence. But put something more stationary, might become a target for but again, it's something. It's just we got the road closed and that's their road and.
Right.
Is it too simple to say cost, benefit?
No. I just want to
I
make
mean,
sure.
if you just weigh it out, it's pretty obvious that the closure is the way to go.
Financially, definitely.
I think it's the most responsible thing to do fiscally.
But I do want some feedback from the neighbors. So,
I would note that the law requires that if there's going to be a discontinuance of the road, there has to be a public
Oh,
hearing
absolutely. Yeah,
anyway.
we
So
would
there'd be
do all
notice,
that. Yeah.
and people would have an opportunity to
Yeah.
come in and
We would do
have
the
their
whole-
say.
informally though,
Yes.
maybe checking in with them before next meeting. And yes,
may not be.
sure, yeah. Mr. Brian, can you come up to the mic?
Nick, if you did the closure where it is, or even, there is another marine place on west of that, correct? There's another place where people park and do some work. It may be tied in with this one, but anyway, if we do the closure there, is there a way, are you thinking a way to keep people from just driving around it in the field? How would we deal with
That would
that?
be an earth and burn. That would be some type of a levee system where we can deteriorate or discourage most people driving over, and then we put a lock gate there, and we would, have access by key. One of our last closures or discontinuance that we did, a few months ago, this same kind of thing. Again, it wasn't serving the public. Beyond that was private land. They put up a gate. They gave us access for key for whoever shared that land, and moved on. That would be an option we would do here.
Okay.
National Guard.
Yeah, they'll find a way to tear it up if they
Yeah.
want to.
Yeah.
If people want to cut to a farm field,
That's the problem with the
Do
gate.
it.
They're gonna be right around it. It's,
yeah,
well, you can make that more
Probably
better,
know
but.
how much you can do about that. So, as for my suggestion, you think do a little research, and you and Magistrate Barry maybe meet with neighbors informally and maybe spell this out, see what they say.
Yes, I can do
Will
it.
that qualify for any kind of FEMA funds?
There was no declaration. There was no flood. The flood did not to get FEMA funds. There's got to be a declaration. There's got to be a major flooding event
An
where
event,
we pass the threshold.
Wasn't a big enough flood.
And this was just a simple water coming up, water going down.
Right.
That's what concerns me, because typically you have a lot of landslides and we got freezing thaw conditions. Water freezes 10% of its size when it freezes, right? So you'll have cracks that open up, the water comes in, infiltrates those cracks, you slip in the slide surface and you slide off. That's my concern, is we didn't have a rapid redraw. The water came up slowly, the water went down slowly. The indications for a slide just normally isn't there. That's what kind of concerns me, is whatever else is causing the slide to happen.
Thank you.
Good information, thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
A lot of work.
Thank you, Mr. Bryan, appreciate it. Anybody else from the audience like to say anything for good of the county? If not, we'll go around the horn, and we will start with Magistrate Starks.
Thank you, Judge, and good morning. Great to see everyone, and want to, again, welcome Ansley. I hope you found this quite enlightening. You probably now know a lot more about roads and slide-offs and all those other technical terms, so you probably grasp that even better than I do. But thanks for being here. Thanks for what you're doing. Keep up the good work out there in Niagara. I know your parents are very proud of you, and rightfully so. So keep up the good work and have an enjoyable lunch. I think, Taylor, are you hosting?
Who's Taylor? a joke, guys, yes.
Real quick, there's not a whole lot I have today. I just wanted to make mention, coming up March 22nd, 24th, out at the Preston Fine Arts Center, the Community Theater, Preston Players, as they're known now, will have Kentucky Battle play, which will be a lot of fun, so if you can, get out there for that. Also, the School of Fine Arts at the high school has Wizard of Oz coming up March the 15th through the 18th, so wanted to make sure folks got the word on that. We've got spring cleanups, which are just about ready to get underway. I was coming down Elm Street and to the courthouse and noticed that we've got some new development on Green Street taking place. We've got a really beautiful renovated Boys and Girls Club now at the Armory. I looked over at the preschool and just thought about the young people right now that are sitting in those seats and what the world awaits them as they continue to grow up and move on. And it's good to be a part of something here at the Fiscal Court that we can at least control a little part of that and try to do our best to make their world, their future brighter. So with that, and also the flowers and the birds are starting to really come out. So thanks for everything, and that's all I have.
Mr. Gold?
Thought I heard Keith coming. I'll defer to Keith.
I couldn't talk till I...
Master Barry, you have anything for good of the county?
Yeah, I do. Congratulations, Ainsley. I know your family. You got an uncle that's a little questionable, but you can talk to your grandpa there about that. Where are you going for lunch? You don't know? Tell him, take him to he'll buy, I'm telling you.
Most expensive place you can think of.
And here's the thing, are you bored yet? Just a little. That's a common answer.
Yeah.
But if, there's a test on all these things we went over before you can eat. You knew that? No? I'm teasing. I always say that. Thanks, Nick, for all the work you've done on the road up there. We'll get that beat out, I'm sure. Hopefully the best and, I hate to say cheapest way, but there's a lot of money involved, so we'll work on that. I can't say everything's good in District 1 because of that, but we're making it. Thank you, Judge. That's all I have.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Gold.
Congratulations, Ainsley. Like we talked about before the meeting started, a lot of what we deal with falls in the category of boring but important. And, we were talking about things like concrete and petroleum products, things like that. And the next thing you know, Nick's got pictures of roads sliding into the river, and that's not all that boring. Who knew there were 75-foot long dirt nails or soil nails? I learned something today. But one thing that I hope you had a takeaway from is that how important people like Nick, who are engineers and really focus on math and science when they're your age, how valuable they are to us, because I don't know about everybody else. I didn't know about those different options out there, on how to fight a river from winning. And so somebody that has studied those sort of things, they're very valuable. And he does a really good job making sure that we're able to have roads we can drive on that hopefully don't slide into rivers, and bridges that don't fail and things like that. So don't forget about math and science. It's a really important thing. And you do have a great family. I've known them for quite a while, and I know that a product of theirs is going to be great, and you're going to do great things, and I look forward to your future. Just keep doing what you're doing. It sounds like you're on a great path, and I know they're not going to let you get off that path, but dream big. You're going to be able to achieve it. Other than that, Judge, things are good in the county attorney's office, and just happy to serve this fiscal court as your attorney.
Thank you. Master Southern.
Caught me off guard there. Congratulations, Ainsley. It's a big deal to get chosen from your whole school. That says a lot about you and your family. I'm sure y'all proud. I'm sure. It's nice being a river town sometimes, but there's also complications that come with it. Kind of what Keith said, we want to do the best part of this road, and the cheapest may be the best. We just have to, as you said, get with the people and talk to them and weigh out all the options. It's never fun to shut down a road because somebody uses that road whether we think they do or not. It's hard. It's a hard decision. Luckily, that's in Keith's district, not mine. So, so with all that, everything's good in District 3.
Thank you. Master Tompkins?
Yep, real quickly, for the road, I agree, you don't take that lightly to do that, but we have to consider what's best for Henderson County as a whole too, and it's, public safety goes along with that, we fix it, and it's gonna be a matter of time before we're right back in that situation too, so a lot of discussion, due diligence, and understanding what's gonna be the best for that situation is what we're gonna get into here shortly and move forward, I'm sure, but on to the fun things, Miss Ansley. I'm extremely proud because you're right out there with me. I grew up with your dad, and you have a wonderful family. I'm not surprised to see you sitting there and having a day named after you. I never did it, and I know your dad didn't either, so you can always say I'm a little bit better. All jokes aside, it's extremely impressive because you choose to do the right things for the right reasons, not because somebody makes you. That's why you got where you are, right? Keep continuing to apply that to every facet of your life, and you're going to continue to play amongst the stars. So super proud of you. Can't wait to get to talk to you a little bit and go to lunch, and I'm excited to do that. So with that being said, other than just normal stuff, we're good in a second. Thank you.
Thank you. Master Putman?
Thank you, Judge. Ansley, a lot of these scholars don't realize, what an honor it is to do this. I mean, you're amongst elite bunch, and y'all have another family member that's in that same group. I keep thinking over the years, we've been doing this now for almost 11 years, I believe, Judge. And I don't think there's been probably 130 scholars maybe during that time. Very small elite group, in my opinion. And what gets me about it, when you look to criteria on this, it's just not making good grades. It's more of a personal thing, how you interact with people, the kind of person you are. And so it speaks volume to you. You must be a great young lady. And I know you come from a great family, and it kind of starts there. But anyway, congratulations. And Judge, all is good in the fourth.
Thank you, and I will echo all the compliments. Great family, folks I enjoy working with often, and very proud for you. And Niagara is a great school, so to be Judge Scholar at Niagara is even a bigger step forward for that. So congrats, and I know it can be a little embarrassing sitting up here and hearing all these people say nice things about you, because you seem like a very humble person, but believe it, and I hope you take it to heart. You're doing good things, and this is a recognition of that, so be proud. Interesting meeting. As has been said, the tough part about governing sometimes is making these choices and balancing cost and benefit. And I'm sure that we'll do our due diligence and make the best choice we can. Even for a remote road like Green River 1, it's never easy eliminating infrastructure, but I don't want to chase good money after bad is my initial impression, but we'll see. Thanks to all of you. Patience today with me. I feel a little discombobulated because I've been a little under the weather. But, we've got a lot of good things going on, and I want to compliment the Finance Committee. I enjoy working with Tim and Butch on the Finance Committee because it's an important committee for this body, and they're very curious and detail-oriented when it comes to our budget, and I appreciate that. And it's good having the feedback and making sure we're asking all the questions. And they do. And sometimes it forces me to think, which is good. That's why you have committees. I also want to compliment Master Starks and Master Tompkins on the work they're doing on the Nonprofit Review Committee, for want of a better term for it. I think that's coming to an end in the detailed preparation.
It is. I'm going to follow up with Kelsey today to make sure she gets that email out. She got hung up Friday to get it to you so you can disseminate it and we can give it a review.
I'd also like at the next fiscal court meeting, if you or any other representatives committee would kind of come before the court again and make kind of a formal detail of how it will work.
Sure, we can handle that.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
think you're close to finalizing the language on the MOA or some sort of
I'm waiting on the parameters from the United Way.
okay.
It's been for a couple
That's what I was
weeks
going
now.
to say. We're going to have all that lined out, so that's where we're at. And, obviously, we're trying to get this wrapped up within the first 10 or so calendar days of March. So that's the goal.
So you think the first meeting in March, you'll be able to offer kind of a concrete plan?
Feel pretty confident, yes, sir.
Everybody knows that I think the city is hoping to also utilize this mechanism to make their decisions about nonprofits. But I do want to emphasize that even though we might be utilizing the same process with some of the same application criteria, it will ultimately be the fiscal court's decision on what to do with our money for nonprofits, what the totals will be in the end.
Absolutely.
And so we aren't necessarily tied to the city in any particular giving situation, donation situation.
We're working together but separate.
Yeah. Yeah. So just want to reiterate that. We will end up making our own decisions, and we will cooperate where we can or collaborate. And
Agreed.
I'm sure on some things we'll be of a similar mind, but on others we might not, and that's okay.
Yep.
Having said that, it's been a good meeting, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor can leave.